Hello, today we're going to be talking about DNA. So, what is DNA? What does it stand for, and what is it altogether? DNA is a molecule that holds genetic information. It is in the shape of a double helix, which just means it looks like a twisted ladder. Pictured here, I'm circling it with my laser pointer. So, it is the blueprint or the biological manual that tells your cells what to do, right? So, how to function, what to make, what to accept, and what not to accept, which means it ultimately controls how your body functions and develops. It is hereditary information, which just means it can be passed from parent to offspring. If it's hereditary, it just means you can inherit it, like how you inherit money from a grandparent or a parent. You can inherit your parent's eye color or hair texture, curly or straight, or even hair color. Every individual is unique in regards to DNA. DNA stands for deoxyribonucleic acid. Deoxyribo refers to the sugar, which is not scary, but will matter in a little bit. Nucleic acid just refers to the location. DNA is located in the nucleus. Specifically, if you have a cell, in your cell there's a nucleus, and there's chromosomes in the cell. There's a lot of vocabulary surrounding DNA, so to try to make it make sense, picture a library. Your genome is your library. A genome is just all of your genes, right? How a library is all of the books. Your chromosomes are the individual books in your library, and your genes are the chapters of the books. This is all this means. And this is all genetic information, but it's just on the scale. So if you start with small scale, you have your genes. Your genes are on your chromosome because your chromosomes contain multiple genes, and then all of your genes is your genome. So what does DNA do, right? We talked about what it is. DNA is like computer code or an instruction manual for your body. So if we continue with the example of computer code, in this case binary code, you have zeros and ones, and they are set in different groupings, if you will, so they can convey a specific message. But each different grouping and pairing conveys different messages. DNA is no different. DNA is like a ladder we talked about earlier, and so your code is going to be your base pairs, right? So your code is going to be 4 letters: A, which is adenine, T, which is thymine, C, which is cytosine, and G, which is guanine. These are your bases. You can think how these pair up is apple goes to tree and cars go to garages, right? So A's and T's are going to pair up, and G's and C's are going to pair up. These pairings are the code, if you will. A set of 3 is called a codon, and this is essential for everything that the cell will do. So we talked about the sugar earlier. The sugar is the backbone, right? If you think about your spine is your backbone, literally. So for base pairs, the backbone is going to be this sugar phosphate group. So the sugar we saw earlier, right? This pentagon. And then you have your base pairs in the middle. So your A's go to your T's and your G's go to C's. This is your code. Why does it matter? What does this code do for you? And specifically, how can we think of this on a large scale? So if we continue with the library example, you can think of your base pairs like your words, right? So your base pairs make up your words and sentences, which make up your genes. Your genes make up your chromosomes, and your chromosomes and all of your genes ultimately make up your genome. When talking about DNA and genes, we're thinking small scale, right? So we say DNA is a molecule. We start really small, it's our code. But like computer code, it builds up, or like a house blueprint, you have a house, right? So it starts small, like a piece of paper, and it turns into all these big things. Well, if DNA is our molecule, and multiple pieces of DNA, multiple strands of DNA make something else, right? So let's say our DNA molecules, then we get to the cellular level. So we're talking about cells. This can be muscle cells or heart tissue cells, right? And then these cells take us to tissues. So heart cells make up heart tissue makes up your heart, right? So if we start with molecules, then our molecules turn into cells, our cells turn into tissue, our tissue turns into organs, and organs turn into people. We start with this small DNA molecule and it turns into, or codes for, if you will, an entire person that is unique, right? With a different eye color or different hair color or texture, different height. And that's why this matters on the grand scheme of things, because we start small with things that make us all unique and it manifests into us being who we are and how we look. These are my citations for where you can find the figures I used, noting that I did draw the big blue DNA molecule.